Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how to use the free MotionCam app on Android to get high quality RAW footage from your Android phone. The previous video I showed you how to do it using the Pro version of the app, but in this video I'm going to show you how to do it for free and get super high quality video. The tools I'll be using in this video will be Adobe Premiere Pro, Adobe After Effects, and Lightroom. The same method can be done using DaVinci Resolve, but the process will be different. In this video, I'm going to be using only Adobe tools. First, start by opening the Play Store and then downloading the MotionCam app. When you search MotionCam, you will be shown two options, the Pro version and the free version. This video will go over the free version of the app. If you would like to use the Pro version of the app, just go to my channel and you'll find the other video. When you first open the app, you'll see the changelog for all the new features. Once you hit start, you'll see a bunch of controls for manual controls and different camera options. For now, I'm going to go over the settings. First, make sure you go to Manage Videos and then set the render folder. This will allow us to use the files from the phone later on the computer. So first, create a new folder and name it RAW Video or MotionCam. Make sure you know the location of this folder since we will need to access it from the computer later. Once that's set, you can go back and then click the settings icon in the top right. Here we can set the RAM usage. I recommend using the maximum amount so there are no drop frames, and then set the storage folder as well. Once that's done, we can move on to the desktop setup. On the desktop, go to MotionCamApp.com, and from here you can download the MotionCam tools. These tools aren't necessary, but I prefer processing all the videos on the computer since it's quicker than doing it on the phone and uses less battery. Once you download the tools, go ahead and open them and install them. By default, it installs the Premiere Pro plugin and the MotionCam tools. You can pick and choose if you want only one, but I prefer installing both. Then click Install. Here you can see the interface with all the denoising options and adding the files to render. However, we will not be using the denoising options since we'll be using Lightroom instead. First, let's record a file with MotionCam. Here, I'm just going to be capturing this simple scene here. In the viewfinder, you'll see options for resolution and frame rate. I'm going to be recording in 4K and 30 frames per second. Some phones will support 60 frames, but my phone, the Samsung S20, does not. When you click the arrow, you can see more options here. I prefer maximizing the viewfinder, and other options are mainly available for Pro users. Here you can see our mode selector, but I'm only be focusing on RAW video today. Other features such as the guides are only available in the Pro version of the app. Here you can control white balance, autofocus, and exposure. Once again, before recording, make sure that the RAW video folder is set. Once you've checked that, we can go ahead and start recording. I recommend always starting with a 10-second clip just to test to make sure everything's working. Once that's done, we can go ahead and open the file on our computer. First, make sure you plug in your phone to the computer and allow file access on the phone. Then go to the folder, RAW video, and then transfer the .mcraw file. This is the MotionCam RAW format. Once you've copied the folder, we can go ahead and open MotionCam Tools. You can skip this step if you decide to process the DNGs on the phone and then transfer it over later, but that might take longer. Once you've opened it, go ahead and set a render folder and make sure you export as DNG. The rest of the options such as denoise options are not necessary. Make sure the other options such as vignette correction is enabled, and make sure that all the denoise options are set to 0 since we'll be denoising later using Lightroom. Then make a new folder wherever you like and then export it there. Then just hit render. Once it's done render, you can go ahead and close MotionCam Tools, and now we can open the DNGs in Lightroom. In the folder, you'll also find an audio file, so make sure you do not delete the audio file and keep a copy of it somewhere else. You can sort by name to have all the DNGs in order. Once you have Lightroom open, go ahead and select all the DNGs and then drag them over to Lightroom. Then click Add All Photos, and then you can go ahead and enhance them and denoise all the photos. Just select all and then right click and then click Enhance. On this page, you can see options for denoise, raw details, and super resolution. I'm mainly going to be using the denoise function since we didn't do denoising in the other step. You can adjust the slider and see different options. If you would like to not denoise, you can also choose super resolution, which will give you 8K video. However, 8K video will take longer to process. I found that 60% denoise works best for my case. Once deciding between denoise and super resolution, you can just click Enhance All Photos. Once it's done enhancing, we can go ahead and delete all the original DNG files. Make sure you keep the audio files separate. Once you delete all the files, go to the C drive of your computer. From there, go to Users, and then your username, and then App Data. If App Data is not there for you, make sure that you enable Hidden Files in the View tab, and then Show Hidden Items. Then open App Data, and then Local, Adobe, and then Lightroom CC. Here, go to Data, and then you'll find multiple folders here. It might be in User for some people, but I found that it's a random string of letters and numbers. And here you can find the Originals folder, and then the year, and then today's date. This is where you'll find all the enhanced denoise DNGs, which we'll be using for the video. In order to copy all the enhanced and not the original DNGs, just type star and then enhanced. This will sort and then give us all the enhanced DNGs only. Select all and then copy them. You can check the number of items in the bottom left corner to make sure it's all the frames. Once you copy them back to the original folder, we can go ahead and use it in After Effects to create the video. Once you have After Effects open, click New Project, and then in the bottom of the project panel, click the bits per channel. Here we can choose the color depth and color gamut that we're going to be using. If you want HDR, make sure you select Rec 2020, and the bit depth, make sure it's at 32. This ensures the highest quality possible. If you'd like to use Rec 709, you can always select it here and have a non-HDR. And for this video, I'm going to be using non-HDR since YouTube compression. Once you're done with that, double click in the project file and then go to the DNG and then select all of them. When selecting the first one, the camera raw sequence should show up, so you can only select one. Once it's imported, you'll see the first frame of the video show up. Here you can adjust the color and other settings here. This menu works just like Lightroom with all the same controls for photo adjustment, so you can edit it just as a photo would, except now it's in video form. So here you can choose exposure, contrast, highlights, and everything else here. One tip I recommend is not using the vibrance slider, since vibrancy changes per frame and it can be jarring to look at in a video. So only change saturation and not vibrance. Once you have all the settings dialed in, you can just click OK and it'll import as a sequence. Drag it into the composition and it'll automatically create a new sequence. Then make sure you right click and check that the composition settings are correct with the right resolution and frame rate. Once that's done, you can go back to the same folder and then import the audio file. This will make sure that the audio and video is synced properly. Now we can go ahead and export. Go to Composition and then add to Adobe Media Render queue. Once Media Coder is open, go ahead and just click the file type, and then here you can change the settings for the exported video. Make sure that the 4K frame size is selected, and I'm going to be exporting in HEVC or high efficiency for HDR. If you're not using HDR, you can always do H.264 or you can export in Rec 709. The end final comparison will be in Rec 709 or non-HDR. Then you can customize the rest of the settings here. To make the comparison fair at the end, I'm going to be using 50 megabits per second on both videos at 4K. The stock camera shoots at 4K 30 at 50 megabytes per second. Once I'm done, just click OK and then click the play button to finish the export. Here's the stock video from the stock camera, and as you can see, the sun is overexposed and the highlights are completely blown out. And now here's the raw video. Here we have so much more control, and both of these videos were shot at a different time of day to show the difference better.